right, welcome back, eSIM Studio. So let's talk about budget phones, or I like to say affordable phones, right? And there are a number of options when it comes to affordable phones. Now, there are basically a handful that I recommend, that I suggest. I know that's a very crowded market with the budget phone sector. I mean, even if you go outside the US, which I'm not, I'm going to stay inside the US, but let's face it, these tariffs are coming back on phones. I believe the phones are paired in with the semiconductor tariff, which is going to be here in about, I don't know, 45 days, something like that. So if you're in the market for a budget phone, you got basically about a month and a half to make a purchase before these tariffs come back. And if you are looking to buy one, I'm going to give you a few right now that you might want to look into. Now, there's a few different segments. You can get the bottom of the barrel, and I hate to say that, bottom of the barrel, because the phone is anything but bottom of the barrel. It's a badass phone, and it's only $200. The CMF Phone 2 Pro. Coming off of the very popular CMF Phone 1, made by Nothing, so you get the Nothing like theme, right? They upgraded the cameras drastically. Now, in the CMF Phone 1, I knew going into that, a $200 smartphone, what can you expect, right? But this year, they made a major change that you definitely want to get. So this year, there are two major improvements with the CMF Phone 2 Pro. It's going to look fairly similar, right? If you know what the CMF Phone 1 looks like, it's not an exact carbon copy or carryover, right, that a lot of these companies do nowadays. Back looks slightly different, but what they did is they improved the CPU. Thank you. You too. Thank you. They improved the CPU, and they also have a pair of 50 megapixel sensors on the back. Now, it's not just any 50 megapixel sensors. These are the same pair 50 megapixel sensors that you will find on the Nothing Phone 3A and Nothing Phone 3A Pro. This phone should be really improved because that was basically its weak point. Now, it only has 8 gigs of RAM. It's a $200 phone. It has 128 gigs of storage. However, it has an SD card slot. For those of y'all that love expandable storage, this one, I believe you can do up to one or 2 terabytes. I can't remember, but added bonus, you can add that storage in there. You can add virtual RAM. So I think you can add 4 or 6 gigs of virtual RAM. So technically, you can I think get up to like 12 gigs of RAM. You throw a 1 terabyte SD card in there, so you got 12 gigs of RAM, a terabyte of storage. What's not to love? But the cool thing about this, before we move on, is they just released a hint or a leak that they're gonna judge. Does everybody remember the Moto mods for like the Motorola phones back in the day, where you could basically attach certain devices or additions to your phone onto the back of the phone or anywhere on the phone? Well, this is going to be something similar, and what it is, it's going to be an external sensor attachment. So not only are they improving the cameras with a pair of 50 megapixel sensors on the back, they're also adding on a Moto mod like extra sensor, where I'm sure it'll enable extra zoom, extra clarity. So this is a fantastic option at $200. Now, I'm sure that little extra sensor that attaches on to one of the back or rear cameras, I'm sure, it's probably going to be $20 or $30, but I mean, it's there if you want it, and it'll take really good pictures for a $200 phone. So I don't have links for everything down below. Now, next up in the affordable segment is, you guessed it, Nothing Phone 3A. I've been on the Nothing Phone train for the last couple of years. I've been a big believer. Fell in love with Nothing and their branding back with the Nothing Phone 1. I had Nothing Phone 2. When the Nothing Phone 2A came out, blew my mind. And the 3A, which is the newest version of their affordable series. Does A stand for affordable? It just hit me. Maybe. Anyways, $379. You take a step up. Now you get those same sensors, right, as you get on the CMF Phone 2 Pro, but you get a better CPU, a Snapdragon CPU. You get more RAM. It comes with 12 gigs of RAM, and you can add an additional 8 gigs of RAM of virtual RAM. So you can basically have 20 gigs of RAM, comes with 256 gigs of storage. Believe you have a better AMOLED display. There's a number of things. I believe the UFS storage is better. So some of the internals, the hardware is better. And the back is a see-through clear glass panel. And I believe now it's not fully plastic like the 2A. The new 3A is basically still plastic, but they reinforced it with some metal. It's a little bit heavier than last year, not a lot, but it just feels like a more premium phone in your hand. Almost feels like the Nothing Phone 2 in your hand, honestly. So that's a major go if you're looking something under $400. And again, you got the CMF Phone 2 Pro, that's $200. That's coming out tomorrow, CMF Phone 2 Pro. The Nothing Phone 3A is already out. I'll put links below. And if you even want to go a step above that, like if you like what Nothing's doing, but you just want a little better camera experience, it technically has let's get into it. The Nothing Phone 3A Pro, the Pro version, the Nothing Phone 3A Pro comes in, I believe, at $429. And basically what you're paying for is an upgraded sensor on the back. It has greater zoom on the back. Now, it shares the same 50 megapixel sensors, pair of 50 megapixel sensors, as I mentioned, for the CMF Phone 2 Pro and the Nothing Phone 3A. But the Nothing Phone 3A Pro adds an extra upgraded zoom feature, basically, on the back. All specs are the same. You're just paying for a better zoom quality. I would go, now it does look different. Some say, I've seen a couple people say they like the way it looks. I think it's ugly. I would just get the Nothing Phone 3A for $379. You're paying $50 more for a zoom feature. It's just not worth it. Everything else is literally identical as far as spec wise, right? Now, if you want to go even a little better up from there, you do have the Google Pixel 9a. Google Pixel 9a. Now, this one comes in at $499. Now, here's the downer with this. It has very good positives, but the cons suck. Pros and cons, right? Pros, takes really good photos. Battery life should last you like 2 days. But the cons is that it only has 8 gigs of RAM, and it comes with a base 128 gigs of storage. Now, if you're going to be paying $499 for 8 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs of storage, you're basically buying the same internals as the CMF Phone 2 Pro for $200, right? Now, the Pixel 9a does have a 256 gig model variant, but they add on an extra $80. No, I think it's $100. Though, so I don't like that. I believe they're overcharging for the memory. They're sort of going down Apple's road, where they always if you upgrade your memory on an Apple product, they gouge you with the price. Well, unfortunately, Google looks like they're headed down that road, because if you get the 256 gig model, you're going to be paying $599, and that's just not worth it at all. The Pixel 9a 128 gig model you're going to find in the stores. The only way you can get a hold of that 256 gig model is if you buy it on on Google's website. And some carriers might have it, but you're going to have to order it through their website. So basically, it's like you can't walk into a store and get a 256 gig Pixel 9a. But the Pixel 9a is self-explanatory. When you hear the Pixel name, you know you're going to get good quality. You know you're going to get the best photos in the game. And you're going to get software support. So another pro for Google, the 9a, is that you get software updates, I believe, for 7 years, basically. Guaranteed, which is a long time. Now, let's rewind and go back to the CMF Phone 2A for $200. I believe you get 3 years of software updates, 4 years of security patches. Nothing, and that's consistent with their other phones as well. So the Nothing Phone 3A you get 3 years of software support, 4 years of security patches. And the 3A Pro, same thing, 3 years of software updates, 4 years of security patches. Google Pixel 9a, you get 7 years of software updates and 7 years of security patches. So you're getting a lot of support. If you don't upgrade your phone a lot, 3 to 4 years, nothing has it just right. I think 7 years is pushing it, especially if you have the Pixel 9a 7 years from now. That's not going to be nearly enough RAM and nearly enough storage. I could go through 128 gigs of storage in a couple of months with all the filming and pictures that I take and editing and all that stuff. So definitely wouldn't work for me. Probably will not work for a lot of people, as apps and just data in general is getting much larger. So please keep that in mind. If you go for the larger storage upgrade, you're going to be getting a price gouge, and I believe that's basically $600. That's not worth it. Now, if you're kind of on the fence with that $600, the OnePlus 13T just came out. Now, get this, and it doesn't really equate to us, but let me just throw this in there for a side note. The OnePlus 13T just released in China. It's got the same specs as the OnePlus 13, a $900 phone. Guess how much they're going for brand new? Now, this is where they originate overseas. $469. I had to stop for that. OnePlus is charging $469 for the OnePlus 13T. $469 for a fully spec'd out phone. Mind-blowing. Now, if you want to get one of those phones, you're gonna have to jump on Giztop. The cheapest price I can find on the internet, if you're in the US and you want to buy one, it's $599. So that's what I'm saying. Let me get the Pixel 9a, but I want the 256 gig variant. Why don't you just get a OnePlus 13T, right? Some people might not want to do that, and I get it, but just options there for anybody that is interested in a really good phone, but not shelling out $1,000, $1,200. I mean, it's getting ridiculous nowadays. And as I mentioned, you might want to look into this. I'm going to put links in the description below, as I mentioned a couple of times. But beware of these tariffs. Again, if you're maybe I need to upgrade my grandfather's phone or my dad's phone or my mom's phone, whatever, your sister or a kid, you might want to do it relatively soon. Again, tariffs are coming back, and the way things are going with that, who knows what's going to happen. Hell, they could be gone. I don't know, but if they do return, which they are scheduled to, prices are going to go up. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that, and do as you please. But if you got any questions whatsoever, hit me up in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer anything y'all got. So please take care and have a good rest of the weekend, and I will see y'all tomorrow. I'm recording on the Pixel 9 Pro XL front-facing selfie sensor. Peace.